Can you move?
Okay, and this is my presentation outline: research objective, motivation, contribution, and the research design. Okay, currently my research topic is on corporate governance practices and capital structure decisions. Under this big umbrella, I have 3 empirical chapters. One is on CEO characteristics, corporate governance, and capital structure decision, which has been modified as understanding corporate capital structure, the role of managerial attributes, and mediating practice. The second paper is based on CEO, managerial ability, and capital structure, the mediating effects of industry type in advanced economy. And lastly, board diversity and capital financial decision making, basically the capital structure, insight from different corporate governance system mediation. So today my topic is on CEO characteristics, corporate governance, and capital structure decision, which is the first empirical chapter. And the objective is to examine the impact of CEO characteristics on corporate capital structure decision, and the strength of this relationship is moderated by the presence of governance systems among G7 and GCC countries. What do I mean by that? In other words, this study investigates how certain traits of a CEO affect the way a company borrows money, and how this strength is affected by the mediating effect of what? Corporate governance. And the motivation, why G7 and GCC? That is a big question. It's because these systems, have three distinct governance systems. That is the capital-oriented, the bank-oriented, and the Sharia-oriented. In addition, they have 3 distinct legal frameworks, which is classified as the civil law, common law, and the Sharia law. Then another factor is the right and interest of shareholders and stakeholders differs across these governance systems. So in this case, to establish a focused, standardized economic model for financial markets, it is essential to provide a clean setting for conducting a comparative study. Okay, so the whole question will be, why capital structure decisions? Why that study? We need to understand, why are we studying? For the past 70 years, capital structure decision has been an area of interest among the corporate finance literature. And the reason why it is so important is that because it can significantly affect the returns of stakeholders and the competitive landscape of a business. Okay, so in this case, many studies have suggested that CEO characteristics decisions are being shaped by institutional setup and financial systems. And this may lead to them modifying their preferred capital structure decisions. So there is a lot of evidence confirming the CEO characteristics. There's a significant relationship between CEO characteristics and capital structure decision. However, what are we seeing? We are seeing mixed outcome, meaning mixed results. In addition, most of the empirical tests has focused on characteristics like the formal education, previous career experience, gender, age, tenure, financial aspect, early life experiences. Okay. So clearly you could see that we realize that the current literature does not significantly consider other factors, such as the marital status, the race, the nationality, and the social capital on capital structure decision. And also we realize that the institutional setting and the financial system has not been used to moderate this relationship. So it's worth paying attention to this development. That is the research. My contribution. This study extends the existing literature by examining the differential effects of CEO characteristics on financing decisions under the market-oriented, the bank-oriented, and the Sharia-oriented system. And it is the first research to employ the panel vector aggressive model to investigate the relationship between CEO characteristics and corporate capital structure decisions, and how it is moderated by the governance system and the financial system. Okay, so what are the theoretical frameworks that I'm using for this research? What are the theoretical frameworks? I'm using the upper echelon theory, then I'm also using the institutional theory, and I'm using resource dependence theory. Why are they important? The upper echelon theory states that the managerial background or characteristics are predicted by what? The way they think. That means they can inform the capital structure outcomes, especially the strategic choices and performance level. Then the institutional theory also stipulated that the quality law enforcement and institutions can encourage borrowers or lenders to lend more money, which intend to reduce the bankruptcy costs. Okay, when it comes to the resource dependence theory, it's also stipulated that organizations can overcome their uncertainty or dependency through what? Entry into a collaborative risk relationship. Example, like networking within the industry can also motivate, can also improve the way they borrow or they share or they take loan. Okay, so in summary, you realize that this theory is applicable and it can manifest and help to explain how CEO characteristics affect capital structure, which is being moderated by this institutional settings. Okay, so based on these three theories, that is the upper echelon theory, resource dependence theory, and the institutional theory, this study argues that CEO characteristics such as the nationality, race, marital status, and social capital are likely to significantly influence capital structure decisions. And also the strength of this relationship is moderated by the presence of what institutional quality and financial systems. Okay, this is the research design. Currently, the total sample size is 1,030 firms across 13 countries from 2000 to 2001. And the data source, the CEO characteristics, I extracted the data from the Borders, Bloomberg, and others. And when it comes to the corporate governance data, I extracted the data from the World Bank database, and the financial data, which is the control variables, I extracted this data from the Refinitiv database. And I have two that I will use to run this analysis. And one is the OLS, and the other one is the P-valve model. And especially the P-valve model is most important in my research because it will help me to capture both the linear and non-linear relationship among the variables, and which is most important, which will also consider the time dimension, both the time dimension. This is the econometric model for my research. Thank you. Question or any comment is welcome.
Okay, if you do you hear me, Gully?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, because and I can see myself, so as you are hearing me now, so if you can just think about what are the expected results of out of your study, so think about it until we come back to you. What will be expected from to have important results. Because I assume we are running some initial tests, so you should have like a full picture, not full picture, but at least some overviews about the expected results. Now we move to Fahd. Fahd, now are you ready for your presentation?
Yes, please allow me to share my screen.
Okay, can the conference allow Fahd to share the screen? Can you check now, Fahd? You are able to share screen? Okay, so you go?
Yes, I see my slide?
Yes, we see.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to present today at طنطا University. Thank you, Professor Ahmed, and thank you for all the organizers. I would like to present today my first chapter of the thesis, which is the CEO Social Media Communication and Firm Stock Behavior. My supervisor is Professor Ahmed Masri, and I am a researcher at PhD student at the CFCI in Coventry University. I'm going through the first section of my presentation, which is the social media and Twitter-based research, investor attention, CEO and social media exposure, contribution of this paper, theoretical framework, hypothesis development, and finally preliminary results. First thing is we investigate the literature that talk about social media and Twitter-based research. So over the last decade, internet has become the most important source for financial news, with thousands of websites providing information that can be accessed by all types of investors, such as social media and social platforms like stock tweets. The growing importance of social media in information dissemination and the influence it has on trading decisions have transformed how financial information is disseminated. This is according to Fang in his paper in 2019. Examining social media usage by Fortune 500 companies by three researchers, Conan, Markert, and Zugalega in 2010, found that Twitter is the most frequently used social media platform, followed by Facebook. In this figure, we would like to show that LinkedIn and Twitter are the main or the most used platforms by firms and professionals. So they divided, according to Statistica, they divided the social media platforms into B2B and B2C. And as we can see here, LinkedIn and Twitter are mainly focused on B2B rather than B2C compared to all other social media platforms. According to Harvard Simon in his book in 1971, a wealth of information creates a property of attention, and this is regarding the attention economy in general. As we can see from both figures here, the one on the right, which is a man looking into a lot of different social media platforms, we can see that he has so many options from sources where to secure the data. However, as human beings, we have very limited attention and very limited timing, so we cannot focus on every single source. Therefore, we try to be selective and choose or pick up the one that is more suitable in our situation. This is a case by case. Therefore, we conclude that social media have made an overwhelming amount of information available to us and easy to gather, so strategically they aim to capture our attention. Now we're talking about investor attention. So individual investors as they are well known as they are net buyers of attention-grabbing stocks, and we can call them as well retail investors. So therefore, an increase in individual investors' attention results in temporary positive price pressure. This is according to Barber and Audi in 2008. And as an example, we can take the Chinese market structure, which is 80% of the market is retail investors and 20% are institutional traders. Second one is according to Da, Ingenberg and Gao in 2011 paper. They proposed a direct measure of investor demand for attention using the Google Search Volume Index, the SVI. And they found that strong price momentum in stocks with higher levels of SVI, which means the Google Search Volume Index, which was consistent with the findings of Barber and Audi in 2008 papers. This means that net buyers of individual investors are net buyers of attention-grabbing stocks. CEOs and social media exposure. So CEOs and other executives might not be innately personable or engaging. However, they are primed to be influencers as they are already operating as the face of the company. So if we take, for example, us today, if we want to approach any sort of CEO, we cannot approach them personally. However, if we follow them on social media, or we try to follow their news using Google, we can always get some information regarding their personal lives, their thoughts, or the strategy of the company or their decision making, for example. And therefore, they are considered to be very influencer. Second one, simply by being present on LinkedIn or Twitter has its benefits. Hotsuit report in 2021 revealed that companies with executives on social media are perceived 23% more positively than companies without. And finally, CEO interaction on social media with their followers and peers could enhance the satisfaction, trust, and approval of their firm by CEO followers. An overview of top executive S&P 500 CEOs on Twitter, who are present on Twitter. Obviously, Elon Musk is the top one with 106 million follower. Secondly, Tim Cook, Apple CEO. Third position, Amazon with 4 million.